I shall be brief, but I would like to use my remaining time with you to remind you that this case is not a difficult one. It requires no minute sifting of complicated facts, but it does require you to be sure, beyond all reasonable doubt as to the guilt of the defendant. To begin with, this case should never have come to trial. This case is as simple as black and white. The state has not produced one iota of medical evidence to the effect that the crime Tom Robinson was charged with ever took place. It has relied instead upon the testimony of two witnesses whose evidence has been called into question, serious question on cross-examination, and flatly contradicted by the defendant. The defendant is not guilty, but somebody in this courtroom is. I have nothing but pity in my heart for the chief witness for the state, but my pity doesn't extend so far as to her putting a man's life at stake, which she has done in an effort to get rid of her own guilt. And so a quiet, respectable, humble Negro who had the unmitigated temerity to feel sorry for a white woman has had to put his word against two white people's. I need not remind you of their appearance and conduct on the stand. You saw them for yourselves. The witnesses for the state, with the exception of the sheriff of Macomb County, have presented themselves to you gentlemen, to this court, in the cynical confidence that their testimony would not be doubted, confident that you gentlemen would go along with them on the assumption, the evil assumption, that all Negroes lie, that all Negroes are basically immoral beings, and that all Negro men are not to be trusted around our women, an assumption one associates with minds of their caliber. Which, gentlemen, we know is in itself a lie as black as Tom Robinson's skin, a lie I do not have to point out to you. You know the truth, and the truth is this. Some Negroes lie. Some Negroes are immoral.
Canaries, ferrets, dogs, cats, birds, fish, rabbits, and turtles. Ladies and gentlemen, what do all of these things have in common? You might be thinking that they're all pets. Well, I'm here to tell you today that the correct answer is they all die. It's an unfortunate fact of life, but the pain of a pet passing is one that many have had to cope with. However, in this story, entitled Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, by the author Judy Blume, a young boy named Peter has to deal with a slightly unconventional kind of death. I'll never forget Friday, May 10th. It's the most important day of my life. It didn't start out that way. It started out ordinary. I went to school, I ate my lunch, I had gym. When I got to my floor, I walked down the hall and opened the door to the apartment. I took off my jacket and hung it in the closet. I went straight to my room to change my clothes and check dribble. The first thing I noticed was my chain latch. It was unhooked. My bedroom door was open, and there was a chair smack in the middle of my doorway. I nearly tumbled over it. I ran to my dresser to check Dribble, but he wasn't there. His bowl with the rocks and water were there, but Dribble was gone. I was scared. I rushed to the kitchen and hollered, "Mom, where's Dribble?" My mother was baking something. My brother sat on the kitchen floor baking pots and pans together. "Be quiet!" I yelled at Fudge. "I can't hear anything with all that noise." "What did you say, Peter?" my mother asked me. "I said I can't find Dribble. Where is he?" "You mean that he's not in his bowl?"